What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we need to talk about this whole big mess related to Binance and Changpeng Zhao, CZ Zhao, who has just resigned as the CEO of the company as he pleads guilty in Seattle, here in the United States, of money laundering charges, amongst other things. So let's jump over to the Coindesk.com website. Here he is. Here's Changpeng Zhao of Binance, as it is pronounced by the infamous Janet Yellen. All right, so Binance agrees to pay $4.3 billion, billions and billions of dollars. That's a lot of money in a criminal case. So they're charging him as a criminal. And Changpeng Zhao, who is not a United States citizen, he volunteered to come here to turn himself in, to surrender and show up in court. But this Chinese gentleman is actually a citizen of the United Arab Emirates. Now, on a side note, they're saying that they're wanting to hold him here and not let him go home. The prosecution is asking the judge to disallow him to travel back home and see his family and be with his wife and kids for the 6 months of time that it takes between now and when the sentencing comes down. So he had a $175 million bond, and I guess he put, $17 million down to secure that. And then the prosecution said, this man is a flight risk. Don't let him go home. But I don't think they have settled that argument just yet. But they claim that there's no way he'll pay the rest of the amount if he decided to leave and not ever come back, and that we would not be able to secure the bond amount and cash in on the remaining balance for the $170 million. All right, well, let's kind of look at some aspects of the story and just talk about it. So the largest crypto exchange in the world criminally charged for breaking sanctions and money transmitting laws. All right, so what does this mean? What it means is the United States is accusing him of doing things that they don't like banks to do. And we normally see this happening with banks. And when the banks in the United States do this, they get slapped with multi-billion-dollar penalties. They pay it. Nobody goes to jail because, well, they're the banking system and they're connected to our government. But Binance is not a part of our banking system. They are taking away from the banking system. Okay, so CZ pleads guilty and agrees, well, it says here $50 million in the fine, but it actually is a lot more than that when you consider what the bail amount is. So the $50 million is a fine, $170 million for bail, $17 million put down cash to secure that bail. All right, so he's accused of failing to maintain proper anti-money laundering program rules. Okay, and that he's an unlicensed money transmitting business. You know how the CFTC and the SEC, they like to jump on people who don't have the MTL license, money transmitter license. And so they're saying that he was allowing people to basically wash money laundering. So whenever we hear all these reports from the anti-crypto government officials saying that crypto is rife with money laundering and crooks and scandals and Ponzi schemes, those are the words of Gary the Gremlin Gensler. This is what comes to mind. Up until now, most of us had the attitude that, of course, money laundering and drug dealing and all of these crooked, rotten things have gone on long before crypto, and that they probably, to a small degree, are using cryptocurrency as part of their money laundering schemes, but we didn't think it was that big of a deal. And up until now, Changpeng Zhao has said that he does not participate in any of those nefarious activities. They just don't go on. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit surprised to hear that it was going on. And it's not like it was going on without him knowing about it. He knew full well what was going on. So a lot of these allegations that we have heard about wash trading, about getting around U.S. laws by wash trading and using different cryptocurrency exchanges on top of Binance, where they were able to skirt the laws by using certain other exchanges. We heard Chico Crypto on his channel talking about this for the past couple of years. Well, it turns out maybe what he was saying was right, because he's been yelling these things all along. And now we see that there is evidence that shows that it's probably true. Now, the one thing it says here, Zhao pled guilty to violating the Bank Secrecy Act, causing a financial institution to violate the BSA. His fine will be credited against the amount he owes the CFTC, the Department of Justice said. So it's interesting that the CFTC is taking the lead in this. Normally it's the SEC that is jumping in and going after companies, and now we see it's the CFTC taking the lead. But here it states Binance employees knew and discussed that the company was serving thousands of users in sanctioned countries, and they knew that facilitating transactions between the U.S. and users in sanctioned countries would be in violation of U.S. law, but they did it anyway. Now, one thing that they did do, whenever they said, okay, the U.S. can no longer allow its citizens to use Binance. I used to use Binance myself. And I remember the day that I had to withdraw everything, and I was quite upset, because Binance US did not have near as many of the listed projects that the regular Binance had. Well, after that happened, what they did, they decided to cherry pick. They took the, say, top, 5% or so. I don't know what the percentage actually is, but they took the biggest bag holders that left the exchange, and they personally contacted them. They contacted them via phone and said, hey, we can let you come on back, but what we're going to do, we're going to set you up with an account that has a location that is based in Europe, and we're going to use a different name, and you can keep your money on the exchange. And so that wasn't the idea of the users that decided to continue to use it, say, through a VPN. The problem is that Binance actively contacted these big bag holders and said, hey, come on back. We'll help you out. There's an easy way around this. We're going to let you stay on with the exchange. Now, up until this point, we did not think that Binance was actively doing sneaky things like that, but they were. In addition to facilitating money laundering, among the most nefarious people in the world. So the $4.3 billion Binance is paying is among the largest penalties ever obtained from a corporate defendant. That's pretty significant. And it kind of makes the United States look like the Mafia. They're putting the pinch on him. So you've got CZ, who is actually working with people that are probably involved in the mafia and drug trade and wash trading and washing money and doing all sorts of illegal things, being attacked by the U.S. government, who's putting the pinch on them, saying, all right, look, we're going to go ahead and let the company continue on, but we're going to put the pinch on you. You're going to pay $4.3 billion, and we'll let you continue business. And then you come over here, you plead guilty, pay another $50 million, and we'll let you hang out until your trial. Kind of sounds like the Mafia to me, if you ask me. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is not going to affect the crypto market. I say, au contraire, mon frère, en français, if you speak France. France, if you speak France, if you speak French. We don't see the effect of it right now, but we're going to see the effect of it later. And why do I say that? Well, let's see if we can find it further on in the story here. What they are going to do at this point, they are going to dig back and go through all of the records, the transactions, the trades, and they're going to look for some of these nefarious people that have been doing the money laundering and all sorts of other terrible things. This story doesn't allude to it. But in a period of time over the next few years, they're going to spend the time to dig back and find as many lawbreakers as they can, and more evidence in addition to the evidence that we already have. So that means that this is not the end of the bad news. Now, if they find something that is just grave, I mean just terrible news, I'm sure it's going to hit the news wires in major FUD fashion in such manner that it could probably cause a shock to the market. So if we see more news coming out and more actions by the U.S. government, it could result in price being affected. Now, when that happens, you can tell everybody you heard it right here on the Crypto Pro channel. All right. So for the folks that say that the market won't be affected, maybe we don't see it right now. And it is a good thing that we could handle such negative news and Bitcoin just hangs out at the price that it currently is, because we didn't see a major dip. In fact, let's just look at the Bitcoin chart and see what it looks like since this news came out. So here we are on the trading view chart, and let's just kind of scrunch this down a little bit. And we see that Bitcoin is progressing as normal, kind of flopping around the 50 EMA. News comes out yesterday about Binance. I think it was on the 23rd, and we don't see much of an effect at all. Maybe it was this little dip here, but we see that the correction is a step above this last higher low. So net effect is zero for now. So we don't see anything happening. 37,714 and holding strong. But don't be so sure that we don't see more negative effects and fallout from this in the future. Now, I'll tell you one way that they might be able to connect the dots and create some significant FUD, and that's going to be with the stablecoin that we all know and love, and that's USDT. Now, we all know that Tether has the ability to print coins to absorb demand in the market, and when they are in anticipation of heavy duty buying going on and a lot of trading, they print more Tether, kind of like the US government prints dollar bills. Now, we all say that Bitcoin is the answer to the future because you can't print any more Bitcoin. We have a finite amount. It will be mined until the 21st millionth coin has been mined, and that's it. There's no adding to it. But it's kind of interesting that we do have the ability to print USDT to facilitate trading going on in Bitcoin. So that's kind of like the Federal Reserve Bank of crypto. Sure, Bitcoin is immutable. You can't move it, print more, and change the supply, but they're printing the crap out of USDT. And we all know how shady the background of the Tether company is and the banking shenanigans that they have pulled over the past 4 or 5 years. Dig back and do a little research and look into the one small tiny bank that they use, which I believe is in the Bahamas. Some of this news came out when the FTX debacle hit the fan. Dig back and do a little research and tell me what you find out when you look into the banking practices of USDT. Now, going back to the investigation, once the Securities Exchange Commission and the CFTC, the U.S. Treasury, once Janet Yellen and team start digging up into those records, what do you think they're going to notice? They're going to notice all of the USDT shenanigans. And I'll bet you 5 cents they're going to dig up some dirt and we're going to have some major FUD that comes out about USDT. Mark my words. You watch. Everyone is in denial right now, and we've just seen this be swept underneath the rug for however many years now. But I think this is the ammunition that the CFTC and the U.S. government needs to dig up more dirt so they can slow down the growth of the crypto sector while they get all of their ducks in a row to approve the ETF, when BlackRock will be able to come in and snatch up all the tokens, or coins rather, all of the Bitcoins at an extremely low price. Watch, and you'll see it happen. So BlackRock, who is the largest investment management company in the world, if you compare BlackRock to all the countries around the world, they would be the third largest country in the world if they were a country. That's how much money that BlackRock has. So if you don't know who BlackRock is, well, just put it this way. All of the working class in the United States, and we have our retirement accounts, which are comprised of stocks of various companies in the NASDAQ, in the Dow, the Fortune 500 companies. Well, BlackRock owns the majority of a lot of shares of those companies. So our little retirement accounts, our IRAs and our pensions, are all being managed by BlackRock. So BlackRock needs to make as much money as they can, hoard as much wealth they can, so that they can show, hey, we're profitable, so that they can serve out all of these IRAs and pensions. Because if BlackRock has a bad day and goes down and can't produce a profit, the folks over here in the United States aren't going to have anything to retire on. And the United States, which is basically BlackRock, is really depending on their success. That's why you see so much emphasis on the defense contractors, and why the U.S. government, well, the Federal Reserve, which isn't necessarily the government, printing billions and billions of dollars for war munitions printed out of thin air, because BlackRock owns tons of stock in those defense contractors, and when they're able to sell those munitions and feed war efforts, they're very profitable. Think about that for a while. That's a lot for one video. I'm just going to leave it at that. But hopefully you will be able to put together all the pieces of the puzzle, and maybe you'll understand the overall points that I have made. And I would love to hear your opinion about what I've said here. Post in the comments below. What are your thoughts about the Binance lawsuit, about CZ? I want to know if you think that this is going to adversely affect the cryptocurrency sector, or will it blow over? Do you think that there is a black swan event coming in the future once they start to dig up the records and look at the books of Binance over the last 3 or 4 years? Let me know in the comments. Will that FUD be related to Tether? I'd sure be curious to know. But in the meantime, I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And if you would like to help me to defray the cost of producing this information for you, you may do so with the giving of a super thanks. And I certainly thank you in advance. That's about all I've got for now. This is Carlton, and I am out.